Many of you who are following along probably know by now that my swim was unfortunately unsuccessful the second attempt. I don't want to make any excuses for it. It was a failure, but I want to give visuals for those who were not there to attend and just put out the footage that we got from it. So this is that video. Well, not good. Supposed to start the swim in like 4 days. We're at the end of the lake here, and then again, water levels are so low. I'll just be swimming with all the ducks and birds. It's all mud all the way out. Apparently the E. coli level per 100 milligrams, if it's over 100 E. coli level, it's considered dangerous for swimmers, and apparently this is 20,000. 20,000, so these damn ducks mucking everything up. Didn't come this far just to come this far. There's 1,000 reasons to not do something. You just need one reason that's overpowering enough to get it done. So guess putting health on the line with the smoke and E. coli, but still sending her, baby. Let's go.
Nobody can go in there, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So where do you gotta go?
Well, we gotta go and deal with the insurance company, find alternate accommodation.
They haven't established a place for you to go.
Not yet.
The day before the swim, my parents and I picked up our support pontoon boat in Vernon to drive it to the starting point and park it there overnight. We're just getting dropped in the water right now. Take this to the start point and then park it overnight, and then everybody will get shuttled out tomorrow morning. So hopefully the smoke clears up a bit, but tomorrow's go day. On the water is a real smoky and eerie feeling. It was just a complete whiteout. The water levels are so low this year that we had to park it 100 meters out from our starting point dock. That was as close as we could get it in. This is the starting point, right there. And we're heading that way tomorrow morning. Just trying to anchor down right now so it doesn't float away, but this is it. To get our gear and crew out to the boat, we had to shuttle it from one of our kayaks just along the 100 meters all the way out. After we got everything set up that day, I drove back to Kelowna to pick up my bus and all the gear that I had in it and the food and everything to drive to the starting point so I could sleep and be on location for the next morning. I find the night before a journey or an expedition, a project like this is always the most nerve-wracking. Your mind is going over all the possibilities, and there's so much lead up of however long it's been leading up to it. So your mind's just racing with all that can happen in the next however long. Unfortunately, the morning of, I didn't get to film too much myself. Everything's being filmed by TMS Productions, and a project will be coming out in the future, but I didn't get to film too much myself the morning of as I was getting ready. My crew got shuttled from Kelowna by car and arrived at the starting point around 3 a.m. and we shuttled people back and forth from the dock to the boat and all the gear that needed to be out there.
Let it down. Let it right down. Right in the middle of my feet. Okay. Good.
Took me about 45 minutes to put on my wetsuit just because I had to use so much Equate diaper rash cream and Vaseline. That's a combo we use for lubricants this year to combat the chafing. So it took me, like I said, 45 minutes to get every single part of me, all the parts that you don't want to get lubed up. Had to get lubed up. Around 4:30 a.m. I had a live YouTube video to film the start for all the people watching at home. I'm sure nobody was up at that time watching, but we did a live YouTube video. There she is, she's live. Woody's absolutely good. I'm sure nobody's watching this right now, but here we go. Let's go. Straight for the boat then?
Straight for the boat, walk as far as you can.
Water hog.
Swim.
Once you begin, it's almost a relieving feeling because all that matters is a task at hand, and to me, it's really freeing. So at 4:30 a.m., that's what I did. I started.
3, 2, 1, go.
Because the water levels were so low this year, it's been lowest in like 20 years or something. I had to walk for quite a bit of ways out to even get enough water underneath me as to where I could begin to swim. It was actually 600 meters before I even started putting my head in the water. I just breaststroked as far as I could out before I put it in with all like the E-coli ridden duck poop water and everything.
There he is right there. So first part, he's gonna have his head out of the water walking out because the water is full of bacteria. It's so still and gross. As you can see, I'm wearing a mask here because the air is so smoky. Anyhow, let's go.
Taste of poop every time my face was in the water. And then when I turned to breathe, it was just the feeling of smoking for every single breath just because of the forest fire smoke. So it was either worst of both worlds, poop or smoke. Wasn't much I could do. The first few hours transitioned night to daytime, and that unveiled the nothingness of the elements that we were facing, just the vast emptiness that the smoke created. Super difficult for the crew members to even navigate because there was no sighting points, so they basically had to just rely on the GPS that was mounted to the kayaks they were on.
Even with this GPS, it's gonna be tough. Like there's nothing to line at all.
Yeah.
So one of the unforeseen challenges we are facing this year is the smoke. Limited visibility all around us. You can see we have Gary in the lead kayak right there. He's handling, there is a GPS on board that boat. Even with the GPS, it's pretty hard to navigate because there is no landmarks to use as reference. Vertigo.
Before any of my meals for the first while, I was gargling Listerine as to help kill all the bacteria and stuff that was in my mouth before eating any food or drinking any water.
Okay, we got Nick just rinsing his mouth out, getting all that bacteria out with some Listerine before he takes on his first water break at about an hour. About 3K in. How you feeling?
Good.
As with many things, if you stay the course long enough, it eventually will begin to improve, and that was the case with the swim. The water did begin to clear up eventually, and the smoke began to subside somewhat as the day went on.
Got like 5 mangoes in his mouth. Oh yeah, and of course a Hornby organic bar, one of Nick's sponsors. Thank you, Hornby. Delicious stuff, eh? What flavor?
Chocolate chip peanut butter.
Oh!
Whenever I'd stop for food or anything like that, I was constantly applying the mixture of the diaper rash cream and Vaseline just to try and stay ahead of all the chafing issues that I encountered last year that derailed the whole swim. So it's just trying to stay ahead of it as much as possible, just continue reapplying before something bad did happen.
He's staying on top of things here, applying some more baby anti-cream. What is diaper rash cream? Wow.
This is the best. We got quite a bit of it.
Do you?
Yeah.
Doesn't get any better. Cleaned out the pharmacy, and this guy's gonna be styling.
Crew switches every 8 hours brought new faces to the scene, which was always a welcome sight to have.
How you guys doing?
Crew was having fun.
What are these double dagger pontoons? What's the play?
Everything was going well.
boat.
Until it wasn't.
We're live in the middle of the lake.
Around 14 hours into the swim, I had a lot of discomfort in my left shoulder. That in turn led me to try to kip the elbow out to try and get a less aggressive path of movement so it didn't hurt. That forced me to hit my wrist off the water in a very unnatural way. And eventually I heard a pop and like a jar in my wrist. And I felt all the fingers on my hand go numb and I lost all the strength in my hand. So my whole left arm was basically dead.
I need to see what it is here.
Little midnight snack here.
And my coach and the crew, he had me laying on this paddleboard to try and just combat the problems I was dealing with. I actually seized up on the board and I fell off. I just had no control over my arms, all the strength was gone. Ultimately, I swam for 2 hours using just my right arm, but the headwinds in the night were so strong that I would make it 100 meters ahead and stop for 1 second just to catch my breath and see where I was going, and I'd be back 50 meters. It was turning, making 1 kilometer go from a 20-minute-ish pace to over an hour, so at that point I knew it was over. I just couldn't believe it. All the work over the past days and months and all the preparation logistics, even in the past week, all the nonsense I had to deal with, even just getting to the starting point of the swim, and it was all over like that after 20 hours in the water. The crew drove the pontoon boat back to Kelowna. Despite all their efforts and everything they did to help me, it was my body that gave up on me and there's nothing they could do. I had left an update online for all the people following along at home as to what happened. For those watching along, I'm heartbroken to say that for the second year in a row, I was unable to complete the swim, but ultimately it was my body that gave up on me. In the end, I had a big pop in my wrist. I can't move any of my fingers except my thumb, and my shoulder had a snap in it. The crew was amazing and supportive and tried to combat things as best we could, but didn't happen. This being such an important part of my life the past year, it's pretty tough dealing with this, but we'll move forward. I was at a loss for words. I still am. Last year was the chafing issues that derailed the swim. But as weird as it sounds, my ligaments, tendons, muscles, everything like that in my shoulders felt great after my attempt. And this year I fixed my chafing issue that kept me up many a nights worrying about how to solve it, and it was the opposite. My shoulders were the thing that failed me. And that's a super tough thing when it's your body that gives out before your mind. I'm no doctor, so I don't know exactly what happened. What the doctors told me, what they think, is that the big muscles in my back, like my lats, weren't activated enough while I was swimming, which caused my rotator cuff and the small muscles in my arm to take the brunt of the force. So that's when I tried that adjusted stroke, leading for me to hit the water with my wrist, leading to the momentary pop and relocation of my wrist. And upon relocation is when they think the swelling caused a nerve to be pinched, and is why my fingers and everything went numb and lost all my strength. The wrist is in a cast right now to try and compress things and keep down the swelling, so that hopefully the nerve gets unpinched when the swelling goes down. Despite the failure, all the support from the hundreds of you with donations, and just reaching out was overwhelming. I know myself, so I know failure just doesn't sit well with me. I know eventually I'm going to have to reattempt this just for my own mental well-being. I just don't know when that will be and what strategy I'll take. I figured out that this is a environmental challenge in the truest sense and not just a fitness challenge. There's so many logistical things that have to come together in order for it to be a successful mission, and I'm just going to need time to try and hash out a better plan of action and logistical measures to lead to a successful attempt. Though I failed, this performance does not define me. I have many things I want to and will achieve in the future, and a learning experience like this is just something that'll fuel the fire for my future endeavors. Something like this is just something that you can't learn in any classroom. From start to finish, this whole process of setting up an attempt like this and logistical measures and putting a crew together and a team and the training and nutrition, everything like that, that's just something you need to get firsthand experience. So I find that experience is the best teacher, whether it's positive or negative, and this is just the classroom of life. So taking what I can from it and using it to help me in the future. I thank you guys for watching on this process that has been sink or swim. I'm sorry I let you all down on this attempt, but I will be back. Keep her not so bad.